13 wickets on day one of the Ashes contest at Leeds. It could have been worse for Australia, it could have been worse for England, but somehow these two teams are somehow clinging together. I mean, Australia were rescued by a brilliant 100 from Mitchell Marsh. What Cameron Green couldn't do for 2 tests, Mitchell Marsh already did it in his 1 test that he plays.
Absolutely.
But the starburst that we had from Mark Wood, I think that is one of the moments of this Ashes series.
Absolutely. What a phenomenal burst from him. Which is why in many ways when I saw that burst from him yesterday, and it wasn't too long back when we were discussing when we all played selectors over here in this very room, we were talking about Umran Malik. And yesterday when I saw that sheer pace, I was time and again, every time being reminded of Umran Malik. That's not to say I'm making any comparisons, and he's got a long way to go for him to reach those levels. But that's what express pace can do.
Let me add express pace with control.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Discipline. Absolutely.
Because if you look at past tearaway quicks, Sean Tate struggled with injuries, and Wood struggles with it, but also
never really had that control. The only Shoaib Akhtar had control, but not Sean Tate.
Yeah, Waqar Younis. Man, that guy 95 miles per hour, and that to reverse swing. God help you if you were the batsman at that time.
Brett Lee had control.
Brett Lee. He was labelled as the Ferrari of the Australian bowling team at that time. What an action! What impact! So. Mark Wood, I mean, England are kind of 0-2 down, not because of their wrong baseball tactics. They missed a guy who could execute them in the bowling department, and that was Mark Wood. If he was there at Lords on that wicket where the short ball barrage was employed, it would have been 1-1 heading into Leeds.
And no way could Ben Stokes, then have not really had that extra edge, let's say, in that match, because remember those conditions on the first couple of days when England didn't really have their plans executed extremely well, because those conditions were there to be exploited. It was green, and there was a green layer as well on the track, and then those conditions as well were overcast, if you remember. England failed to make the most out of those conditions, which is where they struggled, and that's why they ended up losing that test match as well.
But it's crazy how, the inclusion of one bowler has changed how the English team is looking at the moment.
I mean, look at it this way, okay. 16th time Broad has dismissed David Warner, okay.
Yes.
So it is without a shadow of a doubt that Stuart Broad is David Warner's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, if he plays 2 more tests, if Broad is not rested or if Warner is not rested.
At some point, you actually think Broad will be rested.
Maybe Broad could even overhaul McGrath and Atherton's tally, because remember the bowler-batter combination, dismissal-wise, if you look at it, the highest in Test cricket, it's Glenn McGrath. 19 times he's dismissed Michael Atherton. And now with 16, and only, I think, Verity is ahead or Lohman's ahead. I have to just recollect my mind. Of 17, one bowler has dismissed a batter 17 times. Either it's Verity or it is Lohman. I have to just check that out. So, 16 times. But the ball that broke the Australian psyche for survival was 96.3 miles per hour. That thunderbolt from Mark Wood, Usman Khwaja, one of the best batters in the first 2 tests of the Ashes.
That expression on his face tells you the entire story. If a top-end batsman or if a top-order batsman has that kind of an expression after he gets castled, you know he's been done for pace.
And especially if it's Usman Khwaja.
Born and brought up on those pacey wickets in Australia. And that too, not off stump, leg stump was uprooted. That means it was very minimal late swing.
Very minimal, yes.
But 96.3 miles per hour. And we were all excited in 2019 when Jofra Archer had that spell against Smith at Lords.
Yes.
I mean,
when he was concussed.
Yes, but what a spell that was.
Yeah.
I mean, the sight of, I feared the worst, because when he hit him with that bouncer, I thought, oh no, is it Phil Hughes part 2? But
at Lords it was.
And luckily it didn't happen, but man, what a hostile spell that was, and Wood spell. Every ball in that over, 92, 93 miles per hour. And that too, he was just warming up. First over of a test match after injury, you'd think, okay, slowly he's back, 80 miles, 85 miles, but no. Direct 90,
Second
95.
ball, I think somewhere around
93.
Yeah.
93 miles per hour. That's why more than England making those changes. I mean, I had said even in the preview that we did, Harshit, the guy who I'm interested in and the X factor is Mark
We
Wood.
were all both on the same page when we were talking about X factors and how
No doubt
really
about it.
he could have, changed things around for England, and he has. Talk about instant impact. That's Mark Wood for you.
But talk about an impact after 4 years.
Mitch
on the
Marsh.
opposition. Mitchell
Mitchell
Marsh.
Marsh.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
injuries forever plagued. The entire of Australia hates him. He had given that press
Yeah,
conference.
exactly. I was about to come to that. He was asked that question, and interesting, I think, on part of the journalist as well who came up with that question, and he was very, very honest in his answer. He goes ahead and says that while all of Australia, they're not fans of me. They've given me a lot of flack over all these years.
Yeah.
The fact that Australians, they really love their sport, they really love their cricket, they want you to do well if you're wearing the Australian colours, and he's probably disappointed them at times. And to be fair, when you look at the whole thing, he doesn't really have numbers to boast of in Test cricket. As you said, Siddharth, he's been hampered with injuries every now and then. That's affected his international career. But every time with Mitch Marsh, the thing is, he will come and put on a display that you will remember for a long time. That's the kind of impact that he has. And he said that hopefully this innings gives them reason to hate him a little less.
And there's this meme going around of someone. I have it open on my phone right now. It says apology form to Mitchell Marsh, and there's a few reasons listed down under there, and you're supposed to tick one of those reasons. And it says like, I mixed my feelings for Sean with you. That's one of the options. The second is, I thought you had too many opportunities. I was jealous of your big boy power. It's just very funny. My expectations of Australian all-rounders are too high. I thought Rod Marsh was your dad.
Jeff Marsh, yeah. Jeff, and by the way, talking about family, I mean, Jeff and Sean, they were all holidaying in Bali. They were watching Mitchell Marsh's innings, and there's a video where they are celebrating with absolute.
Wow.
I mean, they are over the moon over Mitchell Marsh's thing, because remember, Mitchell Marsh has already done what David Warner could not do in 10 years of travelling to the UK. Get us Ashes century. Warner's highest is 85.
Yeah.
And he's got 3 Ashes centuries, by the way. This is Mitchell Marsh, 3 Ashes centuries. 2 in 2017, and 2017 also there was one magnificent moment at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Sean and Mitchell, they were all nearing their milestones. Both the brothers got centuries at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And England were totally deflated in that. But here, chanceless innings, and he tackled Wood brilliantly. He tackled all the bowling brilliantly. Stuart Broad's pace, Ollie Robinson's swing.
I think this innings will be remembered for 2 reasons. One, of course, was the fact that he led the Australian pushback. They were pegged back in the innings. You needed somebody to resurrect Australia over there. So that pushback, this crucial innings, that's where the importance sort of comes from. Second, of course, you're playing against a team that likes to be the aggressor. So in the era of baseball, to play a baseball-esque innings to the pioneers of baseball, that I think is something for which this innings will also be remembered.
And also the fact that if it was something, I don't know, if other batters had contributed, we'd know it, maybe the conditions suited the batters or whatever. But at this point, England was completely dominating Australia, and all the wickets were falling from one end. But Mitchell Marsh stood tall. I mean,
he
was
saved
brilliant.
Australia the blushes yesterday. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for his innings, let's say if he had played like an average innings of about a 40-50, which you expect, let's say, from a middle order at least, had it been just those middling sort of an innings, then Australia wouldn't have crossed, just have crossed the 200 mark in that case, 200, 210 on day 1, and in that case, they would have been bowled out much before tea in that case. Now, had that been the case, Australia already would have conceded this match a lot in many ways.
Yep, 268 they came to, but they'll be happy with the fact that 3 England wickets are gone.
Yes.
I mean, towards the fag end, Zach Crawley, he would be cursing himself for that shot. Why? It was an outswinger that swung away late, but he poked at it. Warner took the catch, but who took the wicket? Mitchell Marsh. So it summed up a great Ashes first day for him, and that's why it is very difficult for us to determine who is on top at this point. I think it's a very, very even contest.
It is even Stevens at the moment, because again, had England, let's say, the fact that, when you look at 66 odd for 3, they are,
66
right?
for 3, yeah.
You would say that, perhaps it's the bowling side that have a slight advantage, but the fact that the bowling side also didn't put on a lot of runs, which is why the 66 look like a good 120, 130 at the moment, because you're not looking at a big trail, let's say, in the first inning. So I think England and Australia both would feel they are very evenly there in the contest. It's no one has the upper hand really at the moment, but then I think Australia will have the tails up right now, because firstly those 3 wickets, and though batters will have to restart all over again, so focus will have to come in once again, and they'll again have to wait for the conditions to become a little more suitable for them to loosen up. So I think, again, as we like saying here on this platform, crucial half hour over there, and Australia would feel, I think England would be a little nervous to begin with. Australia would want to go with that gung-ho approach.
We all like to make fun about the fact that, okay, crucial half an hour, but then in the World Test Championship final, that was the case. In the first half an hour, who got out in the 1/5 day? No, 5th day.
Fifth day. Okay.
A certain Virat Kohli.
Let's not.
Exactly. So he got out in the first go. So what happened in that?
Alright, Sri Lanka are playing, so Siddharth, obviously.
Of course.
Have to be reminded.
It's a very, very inconsequential game, because already yesterday we saw how the Netherlands
Oh my God.
pulled off a sensational win. And it was a repeat of what happened in 2014, honestly. They needed 190 in 14.1 overs against Ireland,
Yeah.
but they got it in 13.5
I
overs.
remember we were sitting here and the match was
Yes.
underway, and there were 4 wickets down, and you and Shane were discussing, there's no way they can get it from here.
I
They
honestly
did.
thought, but Bas the leader, what a brilliant exhibition. 123 and 5 wickets. So we now know who our 10 teams are in the ICC World Cup.
We do.
And joining the likes of India, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh.
Australia.
I've already mentioned Australia. So England, you have Sri Lanka and the Oranje. The Dutch are coming to India, and coincidentally, their last World Cup was in 2011 in India.
In India.
Wow.
And 12 years later, they are back in India.
Played the 2009 World Cup as well, right?
No,
If I'm
they
not-
played the World T20. Yeah, they played T20 World Cups of
T20.
2009, and
It was,
they
I
played in
think,
2014.
2009 when they beat England.
And 2014 also they beat England.
Yeah.
So that is why now shifting our focus to the Ashes today, day 2, is going to be a very sunny day. No clouds in the sky. It's going to be a bright day, 27 degrees maximum, 16 degrees minimum. It's a typical English summer that you've got there. Unlike day 1 where it was gloomy, dull, cold, everything negative about the English weather, yes, it was associated there. So today, England will have to really step up on the accelerator, because day 3 and day 4, the weather is not good. 65% chances of rain on day 3, 55% chances on day 4, but with the English weather, it always changes.
Yeah.
So
I think it is of paramount importance from an English standpoint that they put up a lead of sorts, a good 70 odd run lead at least. I'll tell you why, because I was going through some of the numbers, and they suggested that Headingley is one of those places where it only gets better to bat. And remember, if that's the case, and if we stay true to those numbers, then England will be batting number 4 and Australia number 3. In that case, Australia obviously would also be, if we are aware in this room that of these numbers, Australia will be going hard in that 3rd innings. Of course, with Bazball, you back yourself batting number 4 at Headingley, but then if you get that lead also, it becomes very handy, because Australia, we saw what Mitch Marsh can do. Now, if you want to peg Australia further back in this test match, the only way you can do that is perhaps get that massive lead, at least about a 70-run lead, if not a bigger lead to begin with.
I mean, looking at the way how the scoring rate is, even if there is a rain delay or maybe a day is washed out, do not count out that a result might not happen, because England play turbocharged cricket nowadays. So they eliminate any prospects of a draw. That's what, when was the last time, if you can remember, when was the last time a draw happened?
With
For
England playing?
Yeah. That was Sydney. Or you may say in 2021 Trent Bridge, but Trent Bridge had 2 days of rain.
Yeah.
So that's why the test match had to be drawn. And even if you look at it, Sydney, 1 wicket to go, they somehow hung
Survived,
in there.
Yeah.
But that was pre-Basball. This is now, the Basball era is well and truly on. And I would say one Yorkshire lad did very, very well on day 1. Today it is the turn of the 2 other Yorkshiremen, Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow. Already
Yes.
Bairstow is in the eye of the storm with all what has happened.
Did you
the
guys watch
drama
the
in this
antics
world.
from him yesterday where he was trying to save his crease
Yes.
every time he would look at the keeper?
Yes, yes.
So-
And anyway, Bairstow did himself no favor when he dropped a couple of catches.
Steve Smith.
His keeping was sloppy yesterday.
Even Joe Root dropped a couple of chances yesterday.
England's fielding.
Only got the
which-
third one, yes.
The 2 catches that Johnny Bairstow dropped, those aren't expensive, but the one that Joe Root dropped,
Yes.
that proved really expensive for England.
Exactly. So that's why they have to have a redemption with the bat today. Because remember, with the top 3 are gone, but luckily for England, they bat deep until number 9.
And that's Broad.
Yes, and that's no, Broad is actually scheduled at number 11
Huh.
in this lineup.
Yes.
Broad is number 11, but maybe he'll bat at 10. Ollie Robinson can be at number 11.
I think Wood they'd send right towards the end.
9. He'll be number 9. Mark Wood. Because after
With
this,
England, you never know.
You've got Stokes, you've got Moeen, you've got Vokes, then you've got Wood, Broad, Robinson. It's a potent batting lineup. And England, this is the best chance for them to come back. And remember, as we have said, Leeds, it's always been a comeback venue of sorts for England.
For
because
England.
even 2021 India series, they had lost pretty heavily at Lords. But Ollie Robinson's surge ensured that England levelled back.
Yeah.
Only for India to pull off a spectacular win at the Oval. Thanks
And then?
to... And then COVID. The COVID era struck and England were rejuvenated under Basball. And
COVID or IPL?
COVID. Official reasons COVID. Official reasons COVID. Official. We have to go by official. All that is hearsay and whataboutery. So it's
Oh, conspiracy theory.
yeah, that's what hearsay. Simpler words. So England versus Australia, day 2 of the Leeds Test match, and I would say today might be the day that England could potentially stage a comeback. I had said also that in this Test match, England hold the edge because they have picked a very good team, good depth in batting. Their bowling stood up. The fielding could potentially let them down, and which is why I think today not picking Hazelwood,
But
especially
even
in
then,
these
you know,
conditions,
I think,
could prove to be costly for
I think
Australia.
Siddharth, England would be happy where they are right now because you know, had you told them before toss that you know Australia get bowled out for 263, they would have taken it.
Yes,
They would have happily
That's
taken
true.
it.
That's true.
indeed, indeed. So, what is your estimation? Who's going to score big today, and which bowler from Australia is going to impress you, Harshit? Who do you think will score big today from England?
I think it'll again be Ben Stokes who's going to have a say today. Conditions look good. It's a venue he absolutely loves, and I do think there's something in store for him today. From an Australian standpoint, I think I am looking forward to Mitch Starc because I think it was the last ball of yesterday's play where he cranked a 94 mile this thing. I think it was 94 miles that he cranked yesterday. The last ball, I think it was, unless I'm wrong. So I think, yes, he's going to be fired up again, and he's somebody who can actually cause England some problems.
Gargi?
England batter, I think Joe Root will play long and big today. And Scott Boland. I'm looking forward to his bowling today.
Boland. Yeah, good choice. Because
Yeah.
if there is a venue where there is a bit of help for him, maybe this is it.
This is it, yes.
For me, my bowler to look forward to would be Pat Cummins. Because he really set about the game with those 2 wickets yesterday. But my batter, Johnny Bairstow. Because whenever he's gotten sledged, whenever he's been in the eye of the storm, he's come out with a big knock every single
Ask
time.
the Indians that.
Yes. Ask Australia that.
Yeah.
When in Perth, remember there was an incident in Perth where Bairstow was involved in an alleged altercation. Then what happened? He scored a century and then he did this. Now,
It'll be
Storm.
good. It'll be good. It'll be good
He
if
could
he gets.
maybe knock the Stumps down also after he gets the century. Looking at the kind of
will get
celebration.
fined.
Yeah. For India, you have to blame only one person for firing up Johnny Bairstow.
Virat.
Obviously.
Yes.
One time we didn't wish Virat Kohli would have shown aggression.
Yeah.
Aggression
It
doesn't mean
backfired.
being in your face all the time.
That
Calculate.
did backfired.
Yeah. Anytime Virat Kohli has an aggression nowadays, it backfires spectacularly, unfortunately. So, yes, England versus.
No, unless you're playing LSG.
LSG.
LSG, Lucknow Super Giants. But Naveen ul Haq also came out stronger in that entire altercation. So, if you are Gautam Gambhir, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, England versus Australia, day 2 of the Ashes. Bairstow and Root, all hopes are on them. For Australia, the bowling has started off well. But remember, there is an absence of a certain Gary. And that could hurt them as the day progresses.
Could.
Yep. Todd Murphy, let's see how he shapes up in his first Ashes encounter.
Yeah.
Remember, his first wicket in international cricket was Virat Kohli.
Here.
Virat Kohli down the leg side.
Yes.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, at Nagpur.
Our Janbhoomi.
Of course.
Your Janbhoomi
Is
is it?
our Janmabhoomi,
Yes.
yeah. Nagpur. So, let's see.
No, I was born in Delhi.
Oh, the one in Delhi.
All right.
Okay. Born in India.
Janbhoomi of Orange Burfi.
Orange Burfi. Talking about Todd Murphy. Okay. So,
All right then.
So, okay. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us. Lot of action-packed cricket today from the Ashes expected. World Cup qualifiers, the last of the league games until the final, which will be on the 9th. I had a discussion with Shane on yesterday. Why a final? When you already know who your top 2 teams are, why is there a final in the World Cup qualifier?
Right.
But I argued for the fact that, okay, maybe in the last 2 editions, you didn't know which team was there until the very last league game. So maybe a final was needed. But honestly, a final for a World Cup qualifier when you know the 2 teams doesn't make sense.
Also, when you're following the point system.
Yeah. Maybe you could have a Premier League like system whoever's got the top points ends.
Well, that's what's the point of getting those points into the Super Sixes then and then I don't know, get the format really.
Exactly. So yes, that is about it, and more updates will come from the BCCI Apex Council. I've already done a breaking on that, wherein there has been strict rules for overseas T20 leagues wherever Indian retired players want to participate. Check that video out. Plus a new dimension to the impact rule as well. Plus there will be a lot of updates on the media rights. And also on several other factors. Participation in the Asian Games done. India are participating, both the men's and the women's team as well.
Amazing.
So thank you so much, folks. From me, Gargi, and Mohit / Harshit. It's bye-bye.
/ Patel.
Patel. Bye-bye. Purple Patel. Who's injured.